And we are back. Episode 2 of Season 1 of Critical Condition. As me and Brad promised, this edition will be a little bit of background information about ourselves and what the channel is going to eventually turn into. As a little precursor, we are actually looking for some artists of various inclinations. I think we would eventually like to include some kind of background music and intro music. So if you know anyone who does that on a cheap, looking to get their name out there. Also looking for artists for thumbnail art, and we're kind of trying to do the whole little, you called it VTuber, but it's not really a VTuber thing, where little icons of us talking in the corners. Mainly just trying to provide you guys something a little bit more than just a big C in front of you to look at. And we're slowly learning OBS as well. So if you have anyone in mind with that, or if you have any thoughts on that, please let us know. We would love to look at some work and possibly commission something. With that said, I'm going to let you start this off, Brad. I know our first little discussion point is who we are.
Yeah. Um, so I am Brad.
Hi,
I
Brad.
have been messing with yeah, thanks. I've been messing with ho- uh, the nerd hobby, I guess, for maybe about six six years. And I mainly started doing the nerd stuff with TTRPGs. Of course, I started roughly playing D&D 5e when it first came out. I played it for about a year and a half. I decided it wasn't for me. I jumped the boat from 5e to Pathfinder First Edition, played that for about 5 years. I met Chandler at some point during that time of playing Pathfinder, and during that time, I was just getting into miniature games. And little did I know that I was probably be the worst mistake for my wallet that I ever made in my life.
And for your living situation.
Am I living? How much room I got in my area as well? After that, so I've been playing miniature games for about 4 or 5 years at this point.
And
And then TCGs for a lot longer.
boy,
But
howdy, did you dive in.
what was that?
I said, and boy, howdy, did you dive in.
Yeah, well, that's because I allowed someone that has a condition to be the first person I mainly interact with, and we both have the same condition, so we just bounce off each other.
We keep those demons at bay.
Yes, and I do a bad job. I need to go to Miniature Anonymous again. I need to tell them that I'm back on the habit. But besides that, kind of like my favorite thing are TV RPGs. But I play basically anything, everything. The nerd hobby, be it TTRPGs, be it TCGs, uh, miniature games. I'd say my main two right now are TCGs and miniature games, as I have the most kind of interaction in our local game scene for those two type of genres. I don't really mess with the local game scenes of RPGs. That's because they require a lot more time. But yeah, I mean, besides that, I don't really know what else to add. I mean, I'm a video gamer. My favorite video game is uh I don't actually know. I have two main favorite video games. I guess the Total War series. Shogun 2 is the best one. Don't at me. Um, I would say, like miniature game wise, I'd say we have been messing with basically every miniature game that you can almost think of, be it just one offs or big tests. I would say our biggest test runs have been, or games that we have played a lot of, uh, are like 40K and stuff like that.
So I have some questions for you.
Yes.
Okay. So in this hypothetical world, all games have deleted themselves. And everyone is required to play this game if they play games at all. What is the one video game that lasts for all eternity for you?
Video game?
Yep. All other video games suddenly poof. So you do not have any lack for looking for people to play with. It's not about popularity. It's about what game could you spend the rest of your life playing if you played video games at all.
Does it fix my ADHD mind,
I don't know. It's your
where
game.
I get very bored of video games really
No,
fast?
you don't. You don't become anything
No, it doesn't.
special. It just means that that's the only video game you have to play.
Mm, you're putting me in a situation here. It's like picking my favorite child. I would say I will probably say I know I didn't mention this one, but like it would either be Total War Shogun 2 or No Man's Sky. I feel like No Man's Sky has enough randomness and just stuff to do that I could play that game for a very long period of time and not get bored of it.
Okay.
So I would say No Man's Sky.
Same question, but for TCGs.
TCGs, well, I have to stick with Flesh and Blood.
Okay.
That's kind of like my game. I don't care if all the other ones disappear. I gotta keep the game that I have put the most amount of money into around.
You got to go home with the lady you brought.
Exactly.
What about miniature games?
Huh. Okay, well, uh,
All games, all the miniature games except for the game you pick are deleted. So if anybody wants to play a miniature game, they have to play this. So popularity has nothing to do with the equations. We're not picking 40K just because it's the most popular game.
okay. So we don't have a bunch of dead air as I sit here and think about this. I'm going to say that right now it's tied between Horus Heresy and Malifaux, but we haven't played 4th edition Malifaux yet.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about 4th edition Malifaux, but I think we need to give it a chance for make any real decisions there.
Yeah, so if we go off a 3rd edition Malifaux, I would say Malifaux over Horus Heresy.
Okay.
But since if we're going to go with the more recent edition of Malifaux, and I have no idea how that actually plays, I'm going to go with Horus Heresy just because I like the mechanics of that game, and it felt very close every time. Every time we played, it was very, very close.
And this is probably going to be a game that I add to our little guests and stuff when we have them. So this is also to say that these games all continue to update. So they're not just going it's not like current edition 40K and it just stays stagnant forever. So the last one I can think of would be TTRPG.
Oh, God. Well, now that one right there is definitely picking a favorite child. Oh, sorry.
Very close there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to go mechanically. My number one mechanic choice, because I know I would say Runecrest by Chaosium is my favorite setting. I don't know the mechanics enough. I'm gonna go off of the game that I like the setting, the mechanics, and everything about it the most. There's issues. Nothing is perfect. There's issues with this game, of course. Pathfinder First Edition is always gonna be my favorite RPG. The setting is cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna say Pathfinder First Edition. There's a lot of content with that game I haven't even touched, so I think that's probably a safe choice as well.
Okay. Well, anything else you have to say for yourself?
No, I don't think there's much more to add, really. I have said everything I need to say about myself. I think it's now your turn. I will pass the mic over to you.
Okay. So, for those of you who don't remember me, if you're new listeners, I hosted the original Critical Condition many years ago. I got started in what I call the unplugged gaming space. My first year of high school, I was sitting at a science 101, I think it was biology 101 class. And a junior, for some reason, was in that class. I looked over across the table, and he had this black book that had a big dragon on the front of it. And that's when I got into Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition. Well, technically, it was Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition. From that point, I slowly got into Magic, back when Magic was pure and good. I'm sure I'll rant about that on one of my unskippables. one day. But short and sweet of it is TCGs have died since the internet has risen. I'm not going to go any further into that. I'll talk about that another day. From that point, I started getting into TTRPGs pretty heavily, even made my own. But I didn't actually get into miniature board games until about 20 years ago. I walked into our local game store and just heard about this really cool game called Warhammer 40K because I was playing Dawn of War, the first one, and I really, really liked it. And then I just started playing. Since then, I got into Malifaux, and I was like, oh, this is a super big deal for me. I'm starting a second miniature game. I don't know how I can handle this. If younger me knew the current me. Like Brad, I probably play almost every miniature game you can think of, or at least am passively familiar with it. Oh, by the way, Brad, keep the demons at bay, but Relic Blade does now have plastic miniatures. No more metal miniatures, so that makes the game much shinier to me. As you guys may be able to tell, I do have effectively hobby ADHD in the way that I am constantly shifting to other things. My brain works that way, so hopefully if you guys can keep me on track, just understand that the train tracks don't really exist in my world, so I'm constantly shifting gears. I don't know if that made any sense. Anyway, so yeah, as an unplugged gamer, I consider myself as kind of a Renaissance man of sorts. I like the painting. I like the assembly. Assembly is probably my favorite part of the hobby itself. Very Lego-ish, very model building. But I also like the games. I like hosting. I like running events. I mean, I like pretty much everything you can think of when it comes to the hobby as a whole. Big into board games as well. I have an entire room dedicated to board games in my basement. I love TTRPGs, although they've kind of sunsetted in a lot of ways for me. But my hierarchy right now, like you said earlier, my number one hierarchy is going to be miniature games, followed by board games, then TTRPGs, and then TCGs at the very bottom. I love TCGs. They just don't love me. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my background.
I'm gonna throw the same questions that you asked me back at you.
Okay.
You're so I know you didn't talk about video games, but I know you play a good
Oh,
chunk of
yes.
those.
I do play a big
So
chunk of
you're
games.
gonna have to talk about your number one video game.
I'm going to cheat. My
gonna
cheat is
cheat.
this. I'm going to say World of Warcraft. I don't play World of Warcraft anymore. I can't play World of Warcraft anymore. I have a problem with MMOs. The problem is I never stopped playing them. But if there was only one video game left in the world and everyone had to play it if they were playing video games, I think World of Warcraft would be a safe bet. Endless content. Now, if I just picked a game that I absolutely love playing over and over and over, it'd be BattleTech by Harebrained Schemes.
Okay, you know what? I forgot that World of Warcraft existed. I don't think it's the same World of Warcraft that you played, sadly.
It's not, no.
Um,
I may say Final Fantasy 14 then. You know, the MMO one.
oh wow. Okay.
I
sure.
loved that game.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Anyways,
Now,
what's
now
next?
let's go to. Do you want to talk about TTRPGs?
I love
They're not very
TTR.
high on your list there.
I would probably... It'd probably be Iron Kingdoms from Privateer Press. As soon as Steamforge gets around to fixing it. They moved Iron Kingdoms to the D20 system a long time ago, and I hated it because I don't like D20 systems in general. Another rant I can talk about one day. But the big thing was I liked its unique system that was based around War Machine's mechanics. I felt it was a very... Oh, you know what? I'm a dummy. No. I'm going to watch the world burn. The world's going to burn with me. You know what game I'm picking as my top game everyone has to play from now on if they want to play TTRPGs?
What?
You're going to love it. You know I talk about this system all the time. We're going to go...
Is it the other side?
No, we're going to go second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay.
Get your books
I'm
out.
okay with that.
Get your books out. Let's calculate some THACO.
Oh wait, actually, okay. I am not. I am. All right, you lost me. I was okay with that until we started talking about Thaco,
Yep.
and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I have stuff to do, and not sit there and try to figure out what my AC is at 0.
I will tell you
Uh,
guys that if you want a deep, crunchy system with endless options for your characters, second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is a phenomenal system. There are dozens and dozens of books for it. Anyways, what's the next question?
and then the last one, is going to be board games.
Well, I don't get miniature games.
Oh, yes, miniature. We'll start with miniature games. Yes, we're gonna do miniature games because I skipped that one. I apologize.
Miniature
I
games is probably where I would say I would probably go to War Machine.
War Machine.
And Horus Heresy would be number 2 so far. I say War Machine because of what they're doing with War Machine now, because what Steamforged Games is bringing back all the parts that I loved about War Machine, and they got rid of all the parts I hated about War Machine away, like the lack of hobby, the lack of beautiful models. Privateer Press did not know what they were doing with their models, if I'm being honest. And now that Steamforged Games is coming out with all these beautiful models, that it's important that you're actually hobbying with them. The details are crisp.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, that's probably why I would stick to War Machine. Now, that doesn't mean that War Machine is my favorite game. I just think that it's probably the one that I would enjoy the most if I had to play it forever.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I just you cheated a little bit because we technically have not played Mark IV,
Yeah.
but you played a lot of the older editions. I know that. So
And the rules that were changed were very small, relatively.
oh, okay, then yeah, there we go. Yeah, I agree. Those sounds good to me. And the last one, of course, board game. You have a favorite board game?
Well, real quick, if I had to pick a TCG, however,
Okay, yeah.
can I cheat and say Marvel Champions? It's not technically a TCG; it's an
No,
LCG.
that's not a TCG because that would technically be a board game. It's more of a board game than a
Well,
TCG.
you know what I would do then? I would really enjoy watching the world burn, so I'm just gonna pick Altered.
Okay, that game is dead. You know, you are aware.
That is why I picked it.
Okay, okay.
Again, tune into a future episode of Unskippable where I rant for about 20 minutes on why I hate modern TCGs.
Oh yeah,
And board games. It's gonna have to be a game that supports a good chunk of players. It has a lot of depth to it. Maybe Blood Rage? Although Altered is really good too. Not Altered, Altera.
Okay. What are you talking about?
Of the games that I actually own, you know what? I would say Thunder Road. I'm going to say Thunder Road because of the sheer enjoyment you can have with that game.
Now you can technically say Marvel Champions because I feel like
If you're gonna
LCGs.
if you're gonna put LCGs in the board game category, then I gotta say Marvel Champions.
Yeah, I feel like they're more board game than what trading card games are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that there you go. But Thunder Road close second.
Yep. Thunder Road is if okay guys, if you get a group of friends who are playful and are ready to laugh and have fun and not really care about making those optimal choices and don't take things personal, Thunder Road is a phenomenal game to play. If you got a bunch of gamers who are just very serious and they're thinking about how they can get to the finish line first, they kill the game. But if you can just get a few drinks in them and have some fun, Thunder Road is phenomenal. Okay, so are we ready to move on to our next segment?
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay. So, yeah, now we're going to kind of talk a little bit about why we started this channel, why we're coming back, all that good stuff. So, basically, for the last several months, you and I have been talking about starting back up the podcast. This was a podcast several years ago. with my previous co-hosts, Julian and Skull. Don't worry, they will be back. We can't guarantee they're going to be here every episode. In fact, we're kind of counting on that because people have lives. We're probably going to alter around a little bit with who's here, who's not here. We're not gonna focus so much on making sure everyone is available because that's honestly what kind of killed the podcast last time. We're also going to be doing some occurring segments that we're going to put in their own little segments. For example, I'm working on my first episode of what I'm referring to as unskippable, because one of the jokes with my friend group, especially Brad, is that I get to my ranting where I start talking about something and he jokingly says it's an unskippable cutscene. It's probably some truth in it too. So that's aside the point though. So that's going to be something I'm going to be working on. I know, Brad, you were talking about doing some reviews for TCRPGs or maybe some recaps and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot. So there are so many good TCRPGs that I feel like do not get enough limelight. Just kind of the main ones that people talk about are either the top three that I see. People can correct me if there's more. Are D&D 5e,
You.
Pathfinder Second Edition, or any Paizo related stuff. Mostly Pathfinder Second Edition. And then after that, it becomes a big jumble of either Call of Cthulhu, Draw Steel,
Daggerheart.
Daggerheart, Traveler.
Yeah. It gets very muddy at that point, doesn't it?
Becomes very muddy of like who is in third place after you get beyond the main two. So I'm gonna focus more on the indie games that do not get enough limelight or games from other companies.
We're going to hear some Free World stuff and DCC.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. We're gonna be getting some Good Man games in there. We're gonna be getting 13th Age Second Edition. We're gonna be getting flipping RuneQuest, because not a lot of people talk about RuneQuest and all their gorgeous books. And
I loved the RuneQuest. Like I said, I didn't really like the character I was playing because he kind of felt kind of dull, but I absolutely loved, and I was playing a pre-con everyone, but I absolutely loved the background and this, like we were, while we were doing the session, I was sitting there reading about all the gods and everything. It was really cool.
Oh yeah, and then also the artwork they do on the books and just everything
yeah.
they do for the world. It's just very detailed.
I love how they changed the art style in the book too. Like it's like different artists and stuff. It's not all just like one conglomeration of the same exact style.
Yep. And then my second, I would say the company that has caught my eye a lot recently I have backed every single one of their Kickstarters is Two Little Mice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'll be reviewing TTRPGs. Did not mean to take over a good bit there.
This is how we do it, though. We just go on a little side tangents.
Yes, I know, but gotta focus because
Yeah.
I know how we are. This is gonna become a 2.5 hour segment video if we are not careful.
So the important part of this is it's not just going to be a podcast. We're gonna try to have something on the channel every few days. Eventually, we will be going into Twitch, for example, because that's where the streaming platform is. We'll be doing those dual streaming, all that stuff that you see the big people do. But right now, we're really focusing on perfect being the enemy of good. Just doing a little bit more every time we go in here, learning a little bit more about the systems. Like I said earlier, we're looking for some people to do some background art. Eventually getting some music. I'm probably going to find some of that free music, that lo-fi free music that everyone has on their podcast and stuff. Maybe put that in the background really low so there's not a lot of empty space. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I personally, when I listen to podcasts, I would rather it not be there, but it seems like it's something that people really want on the background noise. I think that's what we're going to go with. If you guys got any suggestions, feel free to put them in the comments. I swear that's not just for algorithms, but it would be legitimately helpful. We'll also be starting, well, we kind of technically already started it, but we're going to start sending out invites for some of our fans for our own Discord because we're a new channel, which means we automatically have to have a Discord. That'll be a good place for people to put their suggestions and put tips and stuff in there because we are definitely going to be learning heavily. The whole point of this is we're just going to do it. We're not going to sit there and try to make everything perfect. Um, I'm sure some people looked at our first episode and all they heard was two guys yapping in the corner and like, oh, they have no banner art. They don't have any cool icons. There's no transitions, all that stuff. We don't care. It's all going to come slowly. We're all going to bring it into the settings slowly. We're not worrying about this being perfect. You got any thoughts on that, Brad?
I mean, everything you've said sounds basically what we have talked about, and
Yeah.
I agree with everything. I have nothing of major note to add to what you said, and really, I think just focusing on trying to improve every single time we start a new video and having something new for every
Mm-hmm.
single video, because everyone remembers before podcasts started to explode. Like, I remember some of the podcasts I listen to now when they first started. Man, they were just recording in someone's living room with some like with a little microphone they would pass around to each other.
The potato
Uh,
mic.
yeah, basically, and they would just sit there and just talk into it, basically as in like they're playing hot potato with a mic
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
type of deal. So like, and they slowly got better as time went on. They went to they just got everything. So as long as we just stick with that kind of idea of just
Yeah.
providing the best content we can to everyone, then
And that's going to be a sliding bar, right? Every
yeah,
episode, the best is going to be just slightly better.
yeah, exactly.
Um, and right
Like,
now, like I'm using what I would call a potato mic. It's a Corsair headset. But I personally, when I listened to our podcast, it sounded okay to me. We did notice that things were a little soft, so we are recording with new audio levels. So we're hoping this makes it easier, so that those of you like myself who use headsets to listen to things don't have to crank that volume all the way up.
yeah.
And I think it also goes back in our humble, very humble view. We also kind of discussed about just giving something back to the community for something that's done so much for us, wanting to make sure that we have our thoughts, we have our opinions, kind of wanting to just be a part of the wider community through our own creation.
Yeah, I mean the just being able to have share our point of views on certain subjects
Hmm.
of just the nerd hobby, not even miniature game related, even though we both mainly kind of focus on miniature games, like just the overall nerd hobby. Because a lot of these kind of podcasts have a more specific kind of focus, and we're gonna be more of a broad kind of brush on the entire hobby.
Yeah, and I think some small things that we should make clear to any listener. Um, First and foremost, we're going to do our best to be a family friendly podcast where we watch our mouths. Can't guarantee it's always going to be perfect, right, Brad?
Yeah. Yes, I don't know what you mean.
But we're going to do our best. We're also going to avoid any subjects that really shouldn't be covered on non-friendly environments. If we have to go into a subject that's related to a topic or something, we'll probably say something. We'll definitely be doing one of those spoiler warnings too for certain topics. If we're talking about a new video game or we're talking about a new TV series, anything that we feel is important to our hobby as a whole, we're going to try to do all the niceties. You're also going to find that this is going to be a no drama to the best of our ability podcast, and frankly, no politics, of any kind. We're not going to discuss it one way or another, left, right, up, down, doesn't matter. If it's relevant to, a game, like say if we start talking about bolt action, we start talking about the ideologies behind some of the factions, or we're talking about a miniature game that just came out, like we start talking about like the ideologies of the Protoss and the Terrans and the Zerg from StarCraft, that's going to be one thing. But real life stopped at the door. You guys aren't here to listen to that stuff. We're all here to kind of get away from that stuff right now. So I think that's important for us both to kind of have a moment of just closing the door of the world and enjoying our hobby. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next segment, our final segment, in case you had anything to add.
No, I think we have covered everything there as well.
Okay, so we got a few bullet points here to talk about. This is what our plans are with the channel and the podcast as a whole. We kind of touched on that, like why we started talking about the reoccurring segments. We will have our previous co-host Julian and Skull back on. They both shown some interest. We're definitely not going to be trying to keep them away from the podcast. We're definitely going to encourage them to join. We're just not going to make the schedule wrapped around everyone. There will be some times where I can't join and Brad will be hosting. There'll be some times where Brad can't join, so maybe Julian will step in, or maybe all four of us will be on some of these. It's the two primary people you're going to hear the most from are going to be me and Brad. But we're going to encourage the other former co-hosts to join, and we're also going to encourage some of our friends, to jump in. You'll also hear some interviews here and there. The interviews will be separate segments. They're not going to be part of the podcast. We're going to be doing some streaming, like I said earlier. We did a StarCraft 2 co-op stream. We enjoyed that, but we've also been wanting to talk. You made a good point. What was your point about what we should stream?
Oh, I mean, one of the main points I made. Now you're getting me on the spot here because we talk about so much stuff that sometimes I forget what I talk about. But I think one of the points I brought up about streaming was making sure that we kind of hit the more relevant games, or kind of
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
at least at the beginning, or at least
Yeah.
try to if we're going to like do reviews. I don't know if we're gonna add video games reviews. I don't know if this can be more of a that would be something that we need to talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
the try to like if we do stream video games, like we could do StarCraft co-op stuff like that, but like streaming more recent video games, like
Yep.
maybe we could do like 2 days ago, for example, Diablo 4 just released its new DLC,
Mm-hmm.
or we could do some other more recent co-op games that we haven't had a chance to mess with for streaming, or we could just do our own solo streams where we play more solo single player
Yeah,
new games.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
and I think that's the
not
important part is that we're gonna do, whatever it is we're gonna
yeah
do, we're gonna enjoy. But at the same time, um, is we want to grow, but we also don't want to try to become a flash in the pan.
yeah we want to make sure that we do what we want to do, but we are still trying to keep in mind the overall health of the channel because YouTube does not like everything that we want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to think about that, which sucks and annoys a lot of people on the website. From what I understand, and if we could just do whatever we want, I would be. I think everyone in this on the website would be a lot happier.
Yeah, if the dreaded algorithm wasn't there, right?
Yes, if the algorithm was a lot more calm than it is at the moment.
Yeah, our goal is to commit to. I think we kind of settled down on a weekly podcast, give or take. That may be adjusted plus or minus depending on how we settle down right now, as an attempt to start putting some consistent material on the actual channel. We're going to try to do a weekly podcast. So you guys should expect to hear from us the following Sunday. This is probably going to be posted hopefully before midnight tonight. So it's technically still going to be technically a Sunday podcast, but it's going to be pretty late in the day. Um, you're not going to hear any more 3 hour marathons. I know some people absolutely love that, but what you are going to have instead of those 3 hour marathons is we're going to have our hour long podcast, give or take. And then we're also going to have other segments you can listen to. Hopefully, our goal here is to provide something, like every 3 or 4 days, Brad?
Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable number. At
Yeah.
least every week we have our podcast episode, and
Yeah.
then one other segments that we
Yeah. We can
will
spread that stuff out to make
spread the
sure.
stuff out,
Yeah.
and then we can, if people want, we can always have like a calendar, like a schedule
Mm-hmm.
planned of like what's coming up on like our little community page on our channel, so people can see like what is happening in the fall in the week
Yep.
and all that. But that is something in the future that we will have to look into. That
Yeah.
is because it is more stuff to add to our daily lives because we are still working while we do this, of course.
Yeah,
So
and it all goes back to just every time every not every day, but every time we do something with the channel, we do a little bit more. We figured out how to schedule our events. Oh, we figured out how to put a banner up. Well, we didn't already know how to do that, but we got an artist to make a banner and we're happy with it. Let's post that up. We figured out how to do, some kind of like I know people can do the premieres. Okay, well I don't know how to do those. I'm sure it's not all that complicated, but the point is we're slowly going to figure this out. Right now you're looking at a purple and yellow screen of a big giant D6 that's probably way 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 old. Eventually we'd like to have some slides and stuff to show you guys. So it's going to slowly be improved as we move on. We will be bringing back the interviews you guys loved. I know back in the day, people really enjoyed the interviews we had with the various creators because both you and I think it's fair to say we're fairly heavy con goers, right?
yeah, I mean, we have like our last episode was us talking about Adepticon. You have been to I don't know if this would be considered. Yeah, you've been to more cons than me, but I would say that we go to a lot of the major ones, so we can
Yeah.
easily try to set up some interviews here and there for this show.
I mean,
Even that.
generally, every year between the two of us, there's Adepticon, there is Gen Con, Origins, GalaxyCon. I go to Gamma as well. Hopefully, maybe next year you'll be going to Origins or Gamma with me. But yeah, I'd say that we hit a lot of the big cons that are within driving
Yep.
distance of us.
Yep. You will eventually have to add more of the like PAX East, PAX Unplugged. I
Yep.
don't know about PAX East, but PAX Unplugged for sure.
Yeah, man.
On our little dockets of things just to check out once, see if it's worth our time or not.
And we're also very, very interested in hearing what you guys want to hear. You will have ideas. As a manager, as kind of my trade, I've always felt that somebody has something to teach you, even if they're not a position of authority over you, or even if they are a position of authority. Even if you think someone has nothing to teach you, everyone has something to teach you. So please feel free to give us suggestions, insight. It doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt. I don't know. I think we're done. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I don't. I think the only thing that I would say is, yeah, so like, just give us any suggestions. Once I figure out, or once we figure out how to do these little videos and all that, just ideas if they need to change or if there's like issues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Give us suggestions and all that. And yeah, I don't think there's much more to add beyond that.
Yeah, I think we're more or less good. We'll definitely see you guys this coming Sunday, I guess I should say. And I would appreciate you guys listening to a fairly quick episode, but this is episode 2 of season 1 for Critical Condition. And we will see you guys in a bit. Bye for now.